So we found our ways to break into it to get around the bottler-owned machines and sort of explain to people that those were those bottler machines were handcuffs for them
Yeah.
rather
Yeah.
than a business tool. It stopped them from selling the best items. It stopped them from getting the best profit margin.
Coffee, micro markets and vending dreams. Break room legends and winning teams. Neil drops gold from behind the scenes.
Welcome to the show today. I've got a wonderful guest from Tulsa, Oklahoma, Laurel Whitney from Push Beverages. Laurel, how are you doing today?
I'm fine, Neil. Thanks for having me here.
Oh, I appreciate you. What an amazing entrepreneurial journey that you guys have had. And I can't wait for the guests to learn all about it. But tell us a little bit about Push Beverages today.
Well, Push Beverages is basically a full-line soft drink company. We sell many different lines in 48 states. We have your traditional sodas, your too cheap juices, and now we just came up with our Simply Push soda line that just launched May 1st. So it's brand new. And we also have a water line.
Congratulations. Yeah, no, this is
Yeah.
awesome. I've known about Push Beverages for many years now. And where do customers buy it? Is it available in all Vistars nationwide?
It's available in all Vistars nationwide. We also have some beer distributors and some, local mom and pop distributors and some cash and carries that sell to food trucks and pizzerias and restaurants, so forth.
Okay, cool. And then we were together at the NAMA show in Los Angeles recently. How did that NAMA show go for you guys?
Oh, it was crazy. So many people wanted to try the new product because we had just manufactured it the week before. It didn't even make it on our shipment. We had to UPS it next day to our hotel to get it there. That's how fresh it was off the line.
Oh.
So many of people in NEMA tasted before our own team members did. So that's how new it was.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Now you travel the country a lot, right? You and Modi are traveling the country, doing all sorts of shows nationwide. How many shows a year are you doing to push Beverages?
We do about 30 different shows a year.
Okay.
So it gets crazy. I don't do them all. I only do the bigger ones.
Yeah. Well, and what I love about what you guys are doing, and we're going to get into your story here in a minute, where all this started, but the reason why I'm doing this show is in our industry, there is so many amazing entrepreneurial stories, and it's grit and hustle, right? You look back at your journey to get to where you are today. I'm sure there was plenty of hills to climb, right? It doesn't just show up like this.
No, it's been an uphill ever since. We have Coke and Pepsi targeting us. We have the little guys targeting us. So, we had some vendors that we tried to sell on our first year, and they're like, "Oh, you'll be out of business." This was back in 2009. They're like, "You'll be out of business next year. I'm not going to bother."
Oh my gosh.
They see us the next year. We're still here, and now it's nearly 17 years later. Still going strong, new items, bigger footprint.
Yeah. Good for you guys. Now, hey, so tell us, let's go back in time. Where did Push Beverages start? And I know that you guys used to own and run a big vending company in New York, New Jersey, right?
Yeah. We had a vending company that was based in New Jersey, and we had different warehouses in New York, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania. And we were one of the largest independents in the area. It was a very strong business. We had 60 routes. And
that's huge.
we eventually pre-kitted and were able to consolidate that into fewer routes after pre-kitting. And we had some very, very lucrative 5-year corporate and healthcare and school contracts that built in raises from Coke and Pepsi to accommodate, a historical raise. But we started getting much larger raises. It wasn't just a quarter or 50 cents or 35 cents. It was $1 in January and then another 25 cents in June. So now we're faced with the dilemma. What do we do with these 5-year contracts that used to be very lucrative? Do we just give them up because they're not making us any money? Do we hold on and continue to lose, or do we come up with another solution? So being innovators and looking at sort of a marketing guru, and I look at a lot of articles that were saying now it's 2008 in the middle of a recession. People don't have the brand loyalty that they used to have. They were looking for value and quality rather than just the name. So with that knowledge and knowing that people didn't have brand loyalty to their flavored sodas, where they had to have their Coke or their Pepsi colas, they didn't really care, because through the years we switched between Fanta, Crush, Sunkist, Welch's, whatever deal we got at the time. And nobody really said anything back and forth. So we decided to come out with 4 flavors of Push.
Okay.
We had a brainstorming session with our team in our house one night. We were having dinner, and my son was very little at the time, and we're brainstorming names, and I'm on the trademark site, and we're not getting anywhere. Every good name was taken. And then my son just said, "How about Push, Mommy?" Because you push the vending machine button.
Yeah. Okay.
So it was available.
Oh,
And we came out with 4 flavors. We expected to lose a certain percent of business because some people just won't buy what they don't know. However, we had line item Dex data back then. We didn't have, that was before the Cantaloupe and all the remote stuff, but we knew exactly what was going on. So we knew how many orange sodas usually sell from that machine. And we were pleasantly surprised to see that the same number of orange soda that always sold per month sold when we put Push. So we started rolling out some more flavors. And we started getting phone calls because we had a lot of public, hospital, emergency room, some government building. So people would go in and see it and want it for either their vending company or for their store or restaurant. But we didn't want to share. This was our secret weapon. So we never wanted to be a beverage manufacturer. We were doing it just for our business. And, eventually we started selling to our favorite pizzerias and our favorite delis, the places we went all the time, and our bagel stores. And then we started getting some other vendors that we worked with asking for it. So we started selling it to them. And then Vistar came to us and we said, no, because then our competitors can have it. And we didn't want that. And they eventually talked us into it. So we started selling out of Vistar Mid-Atlantic, and then we actually made, I guess Vistar used to have a top 10 list. I don't know if they still do, but our Push Pineapple actually made it on the top 10 selling list, like with Snickers and Doritos and all that. So other Vistars started taking notice. And Vistar Georgia contacted us wanting to buy, but they said, you need to have a peach because we're Georgia.
Okay, yeah.
And I said, peach soda? Nobody's going to buy peach soda. I never even heard of peach soda. They say, you need to buy peach soda. We sell this many peach soda and we'll guarantee that. So I started development of peach soda. I had 7 different flavor houses working on it. That was our hardest flavor, actually. It took a lot of revision. And we finally got it, and we got into Vistar, Georgia. So it just snowballed nationwide. And then we started getting phone calls from our competitors that were buying the product saying, well, we buy your product, so don't compete with us on this school bid or don't compete with us on this
Okay.
hospital bid. So realized at this point we were very conflicted. It was a big conflict of interest. So being very profitable because of our pre-kitting as well as the extra profit margin that Push gave
Yeah.
us, we were
Perfect.
very attractive to several large companies that were doing a lot of acquisitions in the industry. And we ended up selling to Canteen in 2013.
Okay.
And
Was that a big
at that,
decision to do that? To go from running and how long had you operated the vending company for? It was probably a number of years, right?
well, actually, my husband had it when we met. So I guess he started in 1993 because we met in 94. So
Okay.
that was a long run. That was almost 20 years.
20
Actually,
years.
over 20 years. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Was it a very tough
it was a
decision?
rough. It
Was it a tough
was.
decision? Yeah, I was going to
As
say, it's your baby.
we were just dabbling in the beverage. We didn't know if it had, full-time income potential.
Yeah.
And so it was a little frightening, but we felt it was the right decision and it allowed us to go, full-time into the beverage business.
So you sold
So
the
we started
business in
that.
2013 and then,
Mhm.
boom, moved full time into Push Beverages nationally.
Yeah, we were pushing the
Man,
push.
pushing the push.
And
Oh my gosh.
yeah, it turned out to be a good move since Canteen bought our vending business. We also had a food buy agreement so that other oppos were able to buy, and we were able to do all of the Vistar shows, and we didn't have any
Yeah.
conflict of interest with our local vendors that saw the proven evidence that Push sells and Push is good for business. So they were able to start really buying in to the product. And it's a learning curve for people because you're an old Coke guy, people
Yeah.
think that there's only two options, Coke and Pepsi. But with the
Yeah.
economy the way it is and with people have limited spending ability at their job or at their school, that companies are realizing that they need to mitigate their costs and they need to offer better options to people that support them regularly.
And the cool
We've
thing about you and
gone
Modi too, right,
forward.
is you guys understand the grind to that it takes to run a vending company, right? And so many companies put so much effort into do it, but we're operating on such a small margin. So a product like Push
Exactly.
Beverages that can allow them to get a much higher margin makes this all work.
Exactly. They can get higher
Yeah.
margin. They can also do tier pricing, which a lot of vendors do now, because they'll get a price increase from Coke and Pepsi, and their customer will be very upset that they just went from $2.79 to $2.89 for a 20-ounce bottle. So they can now come in with Push and say, "Oh, you know what? I have something I can offer you for $2.50 instead." And it's a good quality. They'll bring samples and the customers are happy. So they're able to still sell the colas that people want and offer the flavors that people love. So
I love that.
it's done very well for us. And now the line extensions of Chuchi and Simply Push and Push 2.0 Water have also, just gone right alongside that.
Yeah, no, that's exciting. So do you guys feel that when you're out and about selling Push, that because you've come from the from the situation of owning your own company, right, you can literally talk their language?
Yes, we know their pain points. We
Yeah.
know the industry. We can also offer, tips and tricks to
Hmm.
launching where the items will work, which items will work in which
Yeah.
applications. That we have people that will just say, "Oh, we want your cola first." I'm like,
Mm.
"No, we don't do cola and vending first. We start
Yeah.
with a pineapple or peach, a strawberry, an orange, a grape. We go with the fruity flavors first. And then once people are used to seeing the name and like the flavor and like the quality and find that it's consistent and delicious and the pricing is consistent, then you could start introducing things like the cola.
Yeah.
But it's
Love that
people's instinct.
strategy.
Oh, and let me put the cola. So we're able to guide people um, to know what works since we were able to test it very thoroughly for 5 or 6 years on our own in one of the most competitive metro areas in the country.
Yes, definitely. Hey, over the years, it's been difficult for new age beverage companies to enter the vending market because of all the bottler owned equipment that is out there. But as you know, we're on the cusp of something exciting with the smart cooler that's getting put out everywhere,
Exactly.
right? That is not owned by the bottlers. Do you feel that Push is on the cusp of maybe, a big growth curve right now with the introduction of the smart cooler?
Well, even before that, with the micro markets, a lot
Oh, yeah.
of people own their own coolers in micro markets. Some got bottler coolers, but they would, even if they had a Coke cooler and a Pepsi cooler, they would have a cooler that they owned that they would use
Yeah.
for their milks and other things, milk and some other new age beverages. So it got much easier with the micro markets. But we
Yep.
also showed people that owning their own vending machines
Mm,
and using Push would actually pay
yeah.
for that machine. So
Yeah.
we had a whole breakdown. We also had a machine refurbishing program. So we found our ways to break into it to get around the bottler owned machines and sort of explain to people that those bottler machines were handcuffs for them
Yeah.
rather
Yeah.
than a business tool. It stopped them from selling the best items. It stopped them from getting the best profit margin. So we helped a lot of vendors purchase their own equipment. But with the micro
Yeah.
markets, it's typical for them to have their own cooler. So that was much easier. And now with the AI coolers, we're working with Sandstar in
Okay.
a push fronted cooler that was debuted at NAMA too. So
Okay.
if anybody did the Sandstar booth, they saw our
Yep.
machine. It's also all over
I
my social
love
media.
I love the Sandstar brand. I love Mike Kaiser, the CEO.
Yeah.
He's a real funny guy, and like you guys, been in the industry for a long time.
Yeah. And we were able to share some of our industry experience and what people are actually looking for in that industry. And he was right on, ready to make
Yeah.
those changes to meet what our customers were asking for.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
that we I think they're still waiting for a few other changes, but we've already deployed quite a few of those to our
Awesome.
to our top tier
Yeah.
customers.
Yep. I love it. That's great. Hey, what's next for Push? You've got way more items than just what would sell in vending machine, right? You've got lots of good pantry items that are new and popular.
Yes, yes. Well, our Chuchi juices are really doing well in the pantry. It's a bright color. It appealed to a diverse workplace, which is the future of the workplace right now.
Yeah.
And you have to, give them the things that remind them of home that they love.
Yeah.
So we're
Yeah.
doing very, very well with that line. And the Simply Push line answered the call for a better product with none of the food dyes. I know in the recent health department started talking about food dyes, which was never something that was discussed before. So
Hmm.
we developed something without any artificial sweeteners, without any
Hmm.
artificial food dyes, and something that actually tastes good. We use
Yeah.
monk fruit, where most other companies use stevia. And stevia has a bitter taste that a lot of people just don't like. So we blended monk fruit and cane sugar and came out with something that's really clean and smooth tasting.
Laurel, listen, I really appreciate you coming in here and telling us a little bit about your story. Good luck with the next couple of years. And hey, I tell you, like I said when we first started, this is truly the most amazing entrepreneurial country out there, to where you can just come in and put effort in and put some passion in there, get your family connected as well, right? And just go hard, and anything can happen in this wonderful country.
Yeah, you even accidentally found a beverage company when you don't even intend to. So,
I know, right? That's awesome. Well, Laurel, I really appreciate you coming in here, giving us a few minutes and talking about your story, and good luck with everything.
Thank you.